Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Megha Discourse. Today we are living in the age of AI, robots, data, advanced science, ChatGPT, Gemini AI, so many things. Countries are building research labs, experimenting with artificial intelligence and trying to control nature through technology. But what if I tell you that this future was imagined more than 400 years ago? A philosopher named Francis Bacon, who wrote a book called New Atlantis, where he designed a modern society based entirely on scientific research, experiments, and human welfare. Now, this book is not a science fiction. It is foundation of modern scientific thinking, and that's why Francis Bacon is called father of modern science. This video is special for me because it has been made on demand of my student. We are going to cover New Atlantis, which is a utopian prose narrative. Now, we have covered previously Utopia by Thomas More, and that utopian society is more social and economic based, but this utopian narrative is different from Thomas More's Utopia. How? New Atlantis is related to Utopia because it presents an ideal society which is based on order, peace, morality, and knowledge. Just like a utopian work, it describes a perfectly organized community where people live harmonious life and work for the welfare of society. However, unlike earlier utopian novels or utopian work like Thomas More Utopia, which mainly focused on social and political equality. But in New Atlantis, the society, the utopia is built on science, experiment, religion, and systematic research. So yes, this is utopian text, but it is different from Thomas More Utopia. So New Atlantis is a utopian prose narrative published posthumously in 1626. Interestingly, it was not published as a separate book. It appeared quietly at the back of scientific work which is written by Bacon named Sylvia Sylvarum, which means forest of materials. Now this placement is very important because it shows the Bacon wanted theory and experiment to go together. In New Atlantis, Bacon presents a vision of future of human discovery, where science is organized, ethical, and devoted to the betterment of society. It is not personal power. So मैं ये कह सकती हूँ न्यू एटलांटिस एक हमारा उटोपियन प्रोज नैरेटिव है जिसमें हम एक साइंटिफिक सोसाइटी की बात करते हैं, ठीक है, in which we have an island which is named Bensalem, and in that island scientific development, scientific society, scientific labs can be seen. Okay, so इस वर्क को हम बहुत ध्यान से डिटेल से पढ़ेंगे और हम PYQ भी सॉल्व करेंगे. So first let us learn about our writer Francis Bacon. So Francis Bacon, he was born 1561 to 1626. He was an English philosopher, statesman, scientist and writer. He is widely known as father of modern science because of Novum Organum, in which he has given the concept of Baconian Method, as well as the advancement of learning and that New Atlantis and many works. Francis Bacon, he rejected blind faith and inherited authority. Similarly, Thomas More, he also rejected blind faith and inherited authority. Instead, Francis Bacon, he supported reason, observation and experiment. His famous idea, notable idea कह सकते हैं, that knowledge is power, doesn't mean that domination over people, but power. Why need power? To improve human life, to work for human welfare. Now, Francis Bacon, he laid the foundation of scientific method, which is later known as Baconian Method, and this is given in Novum Organum, which was published in 1620. Now, this Baconian Method, he moves from facts to experiment, and from experiment to general laws. So he did not work only on the facts and only experiment, but he believed that general laws for human welfare is also important. His important works include the advancement of learning, Novum Organum and New Atlantis, and many essays like Of Studies, Of Friendship and all. Through New Atlantis, Francis Bacon did not write a fantasy. So he wrote a model of how science should function in society. Let's move to the storyline of New Atlantis. Now, this story describes an imaginary island which is called Bensalem, and this means it is taken from Hebrew word Ben and Shalom. Ben means sun and Salem means peace. So, in combination, it is called Son of Peace, where peace and calmness narrates. Now, Bensalem represents the ideal Christian society where generosity, enlightenment, dignity, purity, and public spirit, they are the common values. Christianity in Bensalem is shown as pure and harmonious with science. As we all know that science and religion, they cannot work together. But in this work, he imagined that there should be a society in which science and religion both work together. So according to this story, Bible, and you will get a letter from Apostle Saint Bartholomew in the feast, okay, which arrives there miraculously, and they are reinforcing that idea of true religion and true science which never conflict. So this is the idea of Christianity, this is the idea of Bible. Okay, there is a saint, okay, who is sent by feast of family, and in this feast of family it honors moral life, family stability, and social continuity. So this feast is a symbolism of stability. Now, the knowledge in Bensalem is ethical and controlled. It is a disciplined society. Dangerous discoveries are not released publicly. Okay? And this reflects Bacon's deep concern about moral responsibility of science, because we have many experiments that we cannot show this to normal people. So linguistically, Bensalem uses Hebrew language, in which we have Latin, Spanish, and European language, ancient Hebrew, ancient Greek. So you have to keep this thing in mind that they used Hebrew language, Greek language, Latin language, Spanish language, and some European language. And it shows the global knowledge and intellectual openness, that is secularism. So Bensalem is an island which was discovered by a crew of European ship, and this European ship, it presents European people, the orthodoxy people, it is symbolism, old mindset people, okay? And it was located in the West Peru according to this story, okay? Now, why did Bacon write this New Atlantis? So Bacon wrote New Atlantis to answer one central question: how should human knowledge be organized to serve humanity? वो कहते हैं कि human knowledge जो है, जो हमारी scientific knowledge है, वो कैसे humanity के लिए एक plus point हो सकता है. He believed that science should not exist for individual and for political control, but it is used for the collective human progress. But आजकल क्या हो रहा है? What is today's scenario? That जितनी भी development होती है, जितनी भी discovery होती है, या तो वे यहाँ वहाँ गायब हो जाती है, या फिर it is for personal benefit. Okay, हर चीज को एक political मुद्दा बनाया गया है. So it is, so you can say कि Bacon का जो idea है for an ideal society and now what we are in living, so they both are opposite one. Now through Bensalem, Bacon protests a future-oriented utopia which cannot be imagined nowadays. Unlike earlier utopias that focused mainly on social and political equality. Okay? So his goal was to show an organized research, teamwork, experimentation, and ethical restraint, which are true engines of our future civilization. So in this sense, we can say that New Atlantis, it is a blueprint of modern research, university, scientific labs, and even AI-driven research system. But it fails nowadays. The most important part of this book is that Solomon's house. It is not Salman's house. ठीक है, सलमान खान का घर वाला नहीं है. But हाँ, you can read that Solomon's house. It is the heart of the book. Okay. The most important institution in New Atlantis is this part, which describes the very eye of the kingdom. In the purpose, it is clearly he stated that the knowledge of cause and secret motions of things and the enlarging of bounds of human empire is Solomon's house. Now, this exists to understand nature. Why he built that house, why he mentioned this house. Because he built that house, it is actually look like a lab in which he can understand nature. He cannot worship it blindly, but he can apply his knowledge for human benefit. So this institution perfectly reflects the Baconian method. Now, what is the Baconian method? Earlier I shared that this method was developed in Novum Organum, and Baconian method, it rejects the Aristotle philosophy. Okay, just keep this thing in your mind. So in Baconian method, first observe karo, then do experiment, then do analysis, and then have some application. So observation, experiment, analysis, and application. This is the Baconian method process. So in modern terms, Salomon's house functions like a research lab, university lab, ठीक है, एक innovation lab की तरह काम करता है, in which you have a research center where data is collected, tested, interpreted किया जा सकता है, and it was ethically applied. So this is Salomon's house. Now, in the final part of the book, that is the third book, which is important one, we have the head of Salomon's house. With that, he takes a person who is a European visitor. That European visitor is again symbolism of old tradition, ठीक है, and he explains entire scientific system. यूरोपियन विजिटर को आप रिलीजन से भी जोड़ सकते हो, इसको ओल्ड चर्च अथॉरिटी से भी जोड़ सकते हो. दैट इज द एडामेंट बिहेवियर जो है, इट इज यूरोपियन विजिटर. नाउ दिस सेक्शन इज स्ट्रक्चर्ड इनटू 4 की एस्पेक्ट. सो इसको थोड़ा ध्यान से समझना, ये इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है इस पूरी बुक का. फर्स्ट वी हैव द एंड और पर्पस ऑफ द फाउंडेशन, कि व्हाई ही बिल्ड दैट सलमॉन्स हाउस, व्हाई ही वांटेड टू मेक अ सोसाइटी in which science and religion, they go in hand. Second, he said the preparation for scientific work. What is the idea? What are the methods? Third, he said that the various employments and functions of scientists. Scientists के क्या function होते हैं, ठीक है? How he do his works. Now, fourth one, the ordinances and rites they observe. That is the religion. How religion is related to science. So this structure proves the Bacons understood that science requires planning, organization, and analysis, and not it is accumulation of fact. Science is not, he said that it is not an accumulation of fact. It requires, it is a line, textual line. It requires planning, organization, and analysis. Now you can look at this table. Here we have many points, 7 to 8 points, ठीक है. So it is explained by Francis Bacon, and these are important one. ये पूछे जाते हैं हमारे मेन जो पेपर्स में होते हैं ना, ठीक है. And this is the trap area. How to denote the terms with the correct idea. First we have merchants of light. They all are symbolism, ठीक है. Merchants of light, according to Bacon, merchant of lights, they are those people who collect knowledge from foreign land. जो बाहर से knowledge इकट्ठा, मतलब beam, light दिखाना, ठीक है. Light कौन दिखाएगा? Who can collect the data from foreign land, कि देखो हम information ले आए हैं इस साइंस के मेथड पे. ओके. सेकेंड, ही कैन डेप्रिकेटर मतलब होता है यू कैन सी प्लंडर वन, जो घुसपैठ टाइप का ये कह सकते हो आप, ठीक है. सो डेप्रिकेटर्स कौन होते थे? दे एक्सट्रैक्ट एक्सपेरिमेंट फ्रॉम बुक्स. जो बुक से नए एक्सपेरिमेंट्स निकाल के लाते थे, दे एक्सट्रैक्ट एंड सेड दैट they collect different experiment forms ki we can do this. Okay. Third, they have mystery man. Now, who were mystery man? Look at the name, mystery man. They gather hidden or इनफॉर्मल नॉलेज जो हमें किसी से शेयर नहीं करनी थी, वो कहते हैं ना टॉप सीक्रेट वन. सो दे आर मिस्टीरियस मैन हेयर. अलग उनकी एक और जो इन्होंने सेलमॉन्स हाउस में एक रखा हुआ था, दैट वर कॉल्ड पायनियर्स, और इनको कहते थे माइनर्स. ना माइनर्स दे परफॉर्म न्यू एक्सपेरिमेंट, पायनियर्स फाउंडेशन, ठीक है. सो जब मर्चेंट्स ऑफ फ्लाइट उन्हें न्यू एक्सपेरिमेंट देते हैं, डेप्रिटेटर्स दे कलेक्ट फ्रॉम बुक, मिस्ट्री मैन दे गैदर इनफॉर्मल नॉलेज. सो पायनियर्स क्या करते हैं? दे परफॉर्म न्यू एक्सपेरिमेंट. देन वी हैव कंपाइलर्स. दे ऑर्गेनाइज डाटा इनटू टेबल. Okay, so this is the work of compilers to compile the data. Now we have dowry man, or who applies knowledge for practical use, and they are also called benefactor. It means how to draw out the things, कैसे चीज़ों को निकालना है, उसको कैसे यूज करना है. डाउरी मैन कहते हैं ना कि कैसे दहेज लेना है, तो ये कहते हैं कैसे हमें इस पर्टिकुलर मेथड को यूज करना है. दैट इज द डाउरी मैन, और यू कैन सी बेनिफैक्टर. देन वी हैव लैम्प डिजाइन. They do higher level experiment. They create new experiment with help of old one. तो लैम्प जगाते हैं वो किसी चीज को. Then we have inoculators का क्या काम है? They execute experiment. Execution का काम किने का होता है? Inoculators का. And then finally they make report on them. Then we have interpreter of nature. Okay, and what is the work of them? They derived axioms and laws, ठीक है, कि ये नेचर को नुकसान करेगा, इट इज गुड फॉर द नेचर और नॉट वन. सो दे रेज द former discoveries and ideas that whether they are good one or not one. So these are some 7 to 8 points which are important one. So far as Salomon's house is concerned, actually they are the department, you can say. So this hierarchy is closely resemble modern scientific research. Their teams, data scientist होते हैं, जैसे AI engineer हो गया, analyst हो गया, data operator हो गया. So this is the team of Bacon. ठीक है. So याद रखना, merchants of light, depredators, mystery man, pioneers, miners, benefactor है, lamps है, inoculators है, interpreter of habit. Okay. Now we have fourth point, ordinance and rites. So in New Atlantis, ordinance and rites, it refers to rules, laws and ceremonial practices which is followed in Solomon's house कि कैसे अब साइंस और रिलीजन को हम यूज करेंगे. So the ordinance ensures that scientific work is done in a disciplined and ethical and organized way. We have many hymns and prayers for the to thank Lord God. ठीक है. So he says that also. So he also says that these rites, they are formal tradition which shows respect for knowledge and God and nature. So ordinances for the Salomon house, that is for science, and rites for the to thank the God, to thank the nature. Okay, and reminding scientists of their moral responsibility. So through these ordinances and rites, Bacon shows that science must be guided by values, discipline and spirituality, not just power और क्यूरियोसिटी. वो कहते हैं ना बहुत ज़्यादा साइंटिफिक लोग कि रिलीजन नहीं होता. इन रिलीजन ही डजंट मीन टू से दैट कि आप अंधभक्ति करो, बट ही मेंट टू से दैट कि यस रिलीजन भी होता है, जैसे कि हम कहीं ना कहीं वो चीज़ें स्पिरिचुअलिटी और साइंस रिलेट करती है. सो दिस इज द आइडिया ऑफ Bacon. सो इन न्यू एटलांटिस वी हैव सिम्बोलिज्म which is highly used in this work, like Bensalem. It is an utopian society, ideal utopian society in which science and morality. Okay, then we have Salomon's house, which represent modern scientific research, prefigure of modern research कह सकते हो. Then there is a light, which is knowledge, truth, enlightenment. Then we have sea voyage, जहाँ पे crew member lost हो जाता है and he discovered this new island. So this sea voyage is called human curiosity and search for new knowledge. That's why he discovered that new island, that is search of new knowledge. And that ordinances and rites, it symbolizes the ideas of science must be guided by ethics and spirituality. So, and there are also many symbols. So Francis Bacon presents science not as a chaos, but as a moral, organized and progressive fact for human welfare. So let's conclude our today's lecture. So New Atlantis stands at the intersection of literature, science, ethics and future. So through Bensalem and Salomon's house, Francis Bacon offers humanity a vision where knowledge is power and wisdom is responsibility. Okay, so that is why even today in the age of AI and technology, New Atlantis remains profoundly relevant. And yes, these are your 3 questions. In question में आपको इसको arrange करना है, okay, in chronology. This is your 3rd question. So this is your homework. Okay, आप लोग homework नहीं करते हो, आपको homework दिया जाता है. So first you have to read this work thoroughly and then you have to answer all these 3 questions in the comment section. पता लग जाएगा आप कितने बच्चे serious तैयारी कर रहे हैं. So this is all about our today's lecture and I hope you like this lecture. Also we have given the classes on set exams, whether it is Mpset, Jharkhand set, AP set, Chhattisgarh set, anyone set. So we have make a playlist on set exam series, and if you are enrolling yourself in any set exam, then you must watch that playlist. Okay, and I hope you are finding our videos insightful. So give a thumbs up, hype this video, like this video, and